Komal Sri-Kumar is president of Sri-Kumar Global Strategies, and it's almost as if, good to see it.
Good to see you, Joe.
Almost as if Chairman Powell may have been watching or listening, because you were wondering what happened in the first place, and he got, I think, less dovish recently. Why?
For me, there is no surprise in the activities. The one surprise was the 50 basis point cut that took place in September 18th.
You haven't figured that out yet, have you? Why he did that? Why did he do it?
I have figured it out. Keep in mind, it was before the elections. It was supposed to be 50-50 as to which way the election would go. And we know about the past relationship between Powell on the one hand and Trump on the other. And if anything, he's going to do anything to help the Democratic side on that.
You really believe that?
I believe that. I've been saying this on your program. The Fed is very much a political entity. The reason why they keep repeating that they are independent is because they are not independent.
So now he doesn't want to cut because
he doesn't want to cut
because Trump's in.
That's right.
But
things are over.
Don't you think he thinks about his own legacy too, and that's going to be much broader than being tied to a party? I think he truly cares about the economy.
Well, you think about your own legacy, but you also have a few more years to live. And you're going to see what you're going to do once you're no longer Fed chairman. He came from the private equity side. At every meeting after the FOMC meeting, he talks about how much he cares for the poor and the fight against inflation. But in reality, the support is coming from the higher income groups, from big business, and he's not going to end up afterwards joining the people who are fighting inflation. He's going to be on the other side. So legacy is one.
That's two opposite things. One would be that he would be keeping rates higher to hurt Donald Trump. The other is that he'd be keeping rates lower to make wealthy people happy and people who are involved in that. I don't understand how you put those two together.
At the moment, until now, the domination was the election side, Becky. But now that the elections are over, I think the opposition to Trump is coming forth. And that is not going to deny him a position in the business later on once his term ends. So I think it is a matter of what you play, how you play the game at every point in time. I don't see a contradiction. Because I'll tell you what, even if he cuts in December and we go into 2025, and my expectation is inflation is going to perk up, especially if you have tariffs imposed. And there is, again, big-scale repatriation of undocumented workers. That's going to cause inflation to rise.
But if he follows what you've been saying all along, which is keep rates higher, I mean, how do you think that that's a political statement? We've had people who have come on and argued and by the way, I agree with a lot of what you've said along the way before we start talking the politics of Jay Powell. I understand there were many of us who questioned why they cut 50 basis points.
Right.
But if he just comes around to listening to that, and if we haven't seen the economic weakness, which we haven't since then, maybe the Fed panicked. We had a guest on yesterday who said that he thought the Fed panicked, cut those 50 basis rates, and now we haven't seen any economic data to back that up, so they're not going to.
The Fed did not panic for the first time on September 18th. It has been saying that for a while. Remember, going back to last December, he already indicated rates were going to come down and come down sharply. Nothing happened because inflation picked up again. So he goes through this phase. I call it the Powell pivot. It goes to go at one point, be dovish, and then you find that once you go dovish, you put more cash in the pockets of consumers. Retail sales remain very strong. Initial jobless claims are now at a several-month low. Yeah. He says he needs to help employment. But initial jobless claims are low, and at the same time, retail sales are strong. So there is a big divergence between your statement and reality. And so I'm not here to justify the inconsistencies of the Powell policy. I'm only trying to say which way the market will go. 2025 is going to be an interesting year. You're going to see tariffs. You're going to see the inflation rising. And I am looking for the 10-year yield to go to 5% or higher unless you have a new Treasury Secretary pick who's able to threaten foreign powers but not actually impose many of the tariffs that are threatened.